Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How exciting today, everyone! My name is Haycal Padmawiguna, and in this exciting today, let's talk about politics. You know, when the Peter Marcos said that the best form of the political system is when they could reach out what is a good of social structure and what is you call by justice. And the interesting part is when he replied on his statement that the opposite form, the worst form of the political system is when they're fighting each other, they're struggling, they use bad morals. You know, corruption and nepotism is included, which is related to my discussion of my research today, where my research is entitled by Review of the Value of the Law and the Justice in the Democratization Process in 2024 election contestation from various political parties and proponents. You see here that the words "the law" in my title, it stands for, in the regulation of our election, we use something like the Constitution. In our election process, we use a regulation, which is Constitution number 7, 2017. But this changes because of the policy that established by our Constitutional Court in policy number 19, 23. You see, because of these changes, there are some regulation that also transform, where the minimum ages to become the candidates is 48 years old, or you have an experience to become a politician, you have an experience on it. You see here that this become a problem because it's established our society and perception. Is this kind of nepotism practical? Is this kind of corruption? And the worst part is when a lot of groups, a lot of political parties that utilize the scandal of the policy to take a benefit for gaining a lot of interest from people. That's the main reason why I choose my title. I want to take a look closer how does really our law is maintaining the democratization process, and how does exactly the law take a role in shaping and binding the political behavior in achieving political interests, which is, that's my problem formulation. And relating to our discussion, I have several data about the Constitution, the policy that established by our Constitutional Court. There are several people that say their opinion about the policy, where the interesting part is more than 15% agreed Constitutional Court decision was very unfair. And because of this polemic, it caused several issues. One of the issue is political dynasty. And as you thought that a lot of people here, 46% that concerned about our democracy. And there is another data that could relate to our discussion. It's about our democracy index. If you see here, according to Freedom House assessment, the index of our democracy is decreased. It's decreasing from 2019 to 2023, it decreased on 53 points. Now, let's go to our analysis. First, let's talk about my first problem formulation. It's about how does the role of our law in maintaining the democratization process. I could prove to all of you that the law has failed our democracy. Why? Because if you talk about democracy, theoretically, you see that I believe there are three components of election. Well, maybe several of you have known that the principle of election is luber judil. But the main problem in this case, in my research especially, there are three components that becomes the problem. It's the law, and democracy, and the justice. How is it related? So, as a theory from expert politics like Hans Kelsen, or you can say John Rawls in his book A Theory of Justice, well, many of expert politics say that the justice is all about equality. But John Rawls stated a new theory where he believed that the justice can be fulfilled if the human rights also be fulfilled. So it needs human rights first before you can go to equality. Which is, if we talk about democracy, according to history, democracy is the product of people that protest to the political system in bad days, where a lot of people consider they need what is called by political rights, which is because of democracy is a political rights, we can also analogy that the justice that prioritize the human rights, it's also democracy included. So I can say that this is related. And the next, what is about the law? How can it be related? The law, according to history, it transformed and it developed because of the social protection. So it's for social protection, which is protect all of this component in the context of election. So that's how I can say that three of this component is related each other. So theoretically, if there is a politicization in the law, it means that our democracy also can't be trusted anymore. That's why I say the law has failed us, because if there is a scandal about nepotism and corruption, it means that our democracy also really cannot be trusted. So that's why I say the law must be not intervened by any other thing, any other talk. That's how I answer my first question. And the second question is, how does the role of law in shaping and binding the political behavior? You see, I say the law has a role in protecting our democracy. And if there is a nepotism, then our democracy is also ruined. By that explanation, even if that was just theoretically, I believe that it will also implicate to our reality. Well, in my analysis here, I say that there are exploitation of constitutional court decision by other groups. This exploitation is occurred by the policy of constitutional court, and a lot of people that utilize the scandal, the democracy scandal, just for gaining a lot of voice for our people. And it also often they use religion in achieving their political interests. For example, I have a news here. Let me rephrase it for you. Viral, kampanye Anies Baswedan bawa-bawa malaikat Jibril. This kind of problem is something that actually need to be eliminated by our law. Instead of that, our law has a big scandal. This is not right. This is weird. In actuality, our law need to eliminate this kind of problem. So that's why I say many of our groups, many of people that utilize this just for gaining their political interests, and that's why the law has an important function in maintaining the political behavior of our political parties. Many various political parties or proponents. Then we arrive at our conclusion, where the conclusion of my project is that how does the role of the law in maintaining the democratic decision process? The role is very important because, like I said before, theoretically, if the law can't keep the democracy, the values of democracy, then the people's rights will be also dominated by just political interests. And the second is, this will implicate to our reality condition, where a lot of people, let's say if we take a context in policy constitutional court, our legitimacy of our government will be decreased. What is legitimacy? Legitimacy is like the trust of our people to our government, so that our government can, so that our people can run the policy based on their what they want. And my suggestion for for the second question, I want to conclude that the law also has important role in shaping and binding their political behavior, because their political behavior can be controlled by the law. If the law is objective and doesn't interfere with some kind of or some kind of groups. I think that's my conclusion, and my suggestion is that I want to suggest to our constitutional court, where our government should have established a policy that objectively, and more importantly, the government that established the law of number 19, Policy Constitutional Court, it's from the high order of our law. It means that our law need an evaluation so that they can work objectively. Well, I think that's a general suggestion that I could say, and that's what my opinion. And I think that's enough. I will to open question and discussion.
Any question?
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Haycal, I want to ask you, how do you think about politician in Indonesia is going well, or how influence for our life or for Indonesia future ya, in future Indonesia ya. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question, and I would like to answer it. Well, in my point of view, that our big main problems in our democracy is the people that run and contribute in the democracy itself. Because our people, it seems that they didn't have a good credibility and integrity in contributing their voice in election or many democracy process. Because a lot of people that mock our government, they mock our government is corruption, our government is bad, blah blah blah. But when they see a truck and fall and there is a sembako, they will take it. It seems like our political moral is so badly in down level. But the good news is, in my point of view, young generation has a good political participation, especially millennials and Gen Z. You see, in the internet, a lot of people, especially young generation, that say their opinion about politics, which is, this is good. It means that our young generation concerned about political situation. And in my point of view, the main problem that I could suggest to our young generation also, a lot of, in social media, a lot of young generation that know government only in the bad way. In social media, we know something like meme. Meme is like a literature in social media. It's like a video or a post, social media post, that it has a context on it and it has a several formats. And sometimes it's used for sarcasm and satire. And a lot of young generation that makes meme just for mock our government. It means that indeed that our young generation is concerned, but they just concerned in our bad image of our government. That means our government need to change so that they can actually prove our government is not like that. And I would like also to suggest to all of young generation, politics is not about the badness of government. It's wider than that. It's more wider. I think that's all that I could suggest. Thank you.
So in the general election, there are many problems, yeah, like nepotism and political dynasty in Indonesia. What do you think, and how the way to minimize nepotism and political dynasty in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you for your question, and let me answer it. The Constitutional Court establishing the policy number 90, this is some kind of weird, but I think it could be the probability of the scenario. When there were the requests of people that want, please decrease the minimum ages, and all of the request is accepted in one day, in just one day. It becomes so weird because sometimes a lot of policy it is considered has a range of time, not this. This is so short time. So that's why, in my point of view, that government need more consideration in establishing a policy. And the second is, in my thought, that it would be nice if there is a relationship, maybe relationship, especially in our law order, law pillars, there is no, yeah, just like for example, in our constitutional court, in before, the judge has a relationship with Jokowi, which is that's the main problem. That established some perception in our society. And in my thought, it will be nice if our law institution, there is no kind of relationship with some people that could establish nepotism in the next election. And maybe the next suggestion that I could suggest is about the judge itself. The judge itself must be selected by selective, and not all the people can be the judge, and a lot of people need to, if they want to become the judge, so they need to do some selection that very strong, like that.
Okay. And in your research, there is demonstration and protest. Yeah. During the general election, is there is impact of demonstration or protest for make our democracy better? Is there is impact?
For protesting, well, I would like to bring some kind of theories from, did you know Rocky Gerung? You know that in political system, political environment, there is something that that called by the voice and the noise. So how do I define this? Voice is basically a policy, and the noise is basically the reaction of our people to this kind of policy. So it's like reacting each other. And you know, this concept is brought by Rocky Gerung from the concept of orchestra in, I don't know, in the middle of 16th century, if I'm not mistaken. But the thing is, in political system, there must be voice and noise. There must be. So in political system, there is no way that one of these components is eliminated. No, because the noise is also representation of people that want change. That things, yeah, basically it's like opposition. So that's why, in my point of view, about is protesting could change the system. In my point of view, well, it can change, because if our government really concerned about our people, then they will hear what the people want from the protesting, of course. And or any scenario that I could provide, then the people that are protesting can enter the government. Maybe some kind of scenario like that. But I think that's all.
Okay, the last question. What can we do to increase the trust of people about our government and our democracy in Indonesia?
Legitimacy. Of course, okay, thank you for the question. We know in Indonesia is we use the democracy such as democracy constitutional. By the definition, democracy constitutional is the democracy where the government can be said democracy if the power of their government is limited by something that you call by the law. You know, with this kind of scandal, crisis, democracy crisis, it will decrease the legitimacy of our government, because, well, if I say in Indonesia, actually, we use democracy constitutional. It explained on our constitutional script, the base constitutional script, 1945. In that, explain about our form of state is democracy constitutional. And about the legitimacy, it means in our script, all of it is our people dreams, right? It's our people, what our people wants to be. It means if there is cheating in election like this, which is election is something, a tool for running democracy. You know, some democracy country can be said democracy if they are done the election. And what I said is about legitimacy. The legitimacy can be decreased because if the law is cheated by political interest, it means that our government has additional power, maybe, that doesn't there. It shouldn't be there. It means that there are several oligarchs, if I could say that, oligarchs that use and politicize the power, and it becomes the traitor of our democracy system, maybe like that.
Okay, thank you for your presentation. You can close.
Okay, I think that's all from me. Thank you for your all nice attention. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.